What's good, YouTube? Thank you so much for tuning in to another one of my videos. And today is Monday, so we gotta take a look at this past weekend's box office. This is something I like to start doing more regularly. Every Monday, is taking a look at the weekend's box office. It's something that I just find interesting to look at. You look at how good movies, how well movies did or didn't do, and then it's kind of cool to theorize, what went wrong or what went right for movies, depending on how good or how bad they did. So this is a series I like to start doing more regularly. I did one maybe like a month or so ago on reminiscence, and why I thought that it didn't do that great. You can check that out if you want. But this is something I'd like to start doing routinely every Monday moving forward. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at this past weekend's box office. It's an interesting one because we had a new Bond film drop, No Time to Die. I haven't had a chance to see it yet myself, but I do want to check it out in theaters at some point. But let me go ahead and pull up the box office list from Box Office Mojo, and bam, here we go. So I just want to take a quick overview on how things did, and then we'll kind of dive into the No Time to Die thing. I'll start off the top. Of course, we got No Time to Die at number one with 55 mil. Number two, we got Venom: Let There Be Carnage, 64% drop, quite a bit, but still 31 mil with a total of 141 mil for the total gross. Pretty good. The Adams Family 2, 10 mil, and Shang-Chi Legend of the Ten Rings with 4 mil, bringing their total to 212.5 mil. Man, that's awesome. I'm so happy about that, man. That film breaking 200 mil because I love Shang-Chi. I thought the movie was fucking incredible. Amazing film. So I'm glad that it's doing that well. People are still going to see it. Still 4 million over this past weekend. What number weekend is this? Was it 6 week? Damn, that's good, man. Still getting 4 mil and bringing up 212 mil. I'm about it. That's dope. But yeah, I love Shang-Chi. And then Many Saints of Newark coming in with the second week at 1.4 mil. I saw the total for that, 7 mil. But I mean, what did you expect with that being on HBO Max and then that not being marketed all that much either? At least not from what I could tell. I feel like only the hardcore Soprano fans is really going to see that. And then six, Free Guy with 119 mil total. That's his ninth week. It's kind of expected for 1 mil. Dear Evan Hansen, 1 mil. Third week for 13 mil. No one's really going to see that, I guess. We got Lamb. Lamb is what I want to see. I want to see this movie. I wish it was playing in theaters around my area because I love to see this movie. This movie looks super interesting. Of course, it's A24, so it's going to be fucking weird as hell. Trippy horror movie. I gotta see it. I've heard interesting things. But 1 million on 583 screens. I wish it was playing around me. I'd love to see it. And then we got Candyman, and I'm not even sure what this was. It? Oh, Met Opera. Oh, it's a Fathom Events of $387,000. But yeah, so that's the box office rundown. The top 10. Um, and of course, number one, No Time to Die. But with 55 mil, it seemed like came in a little bit lower than what people were expecting. And I kind of wanted to dive in and see what people said on articles and then kind of give my own opinion on what I think it is. So let's go ahead and switch gears here over to the Variety article talking about, it kind of underperforming a little bit. Um, it's projected to make 60 to 70 mil in the first three days of release. Of course, it fell, a little bit under that if you're going kind of on the lighter side with 60 mil, 4 mil short. And in this article, they talked about I don't know where the exact point was, but one of the points that they mentioned. Oh, here it is, talking about it here, coming from a David A. Gross from the Franchise Entertainment Research Firm, talking about just the age demographic being one of the reasons that the film just didn't perform like people were expecting. So I kind of wanted to get into that a little bit and give my thoughts on that because people are saying one of the reasons that it didn't do good is because of the Bond demographic. Like, who's going to go see Bond? Oh, excuse me. Now, and I think that there is some credence to that, right? Like, I do think that the people that are going to see Bond are definitely not within that same crowd exactly. They're going to go see things like Venom, and people got hyped off of Venom because it made so much money last weekend that oh man, theaters are popping again. Like James Bond come in and do work. Did work overseas. It's at 300 mil, almost 400 mil. Was it 400 mil? Go back real quick. What are we at worldwide right now? Oh, it doesn't have the total gross on here. Oh, it's just domestic. Um, was that, I think it's like 400 mil. Yeah, okay. Globally, the film has collected 313 mil, so it's doing work internationally. And traditionally, Bond has done work um, in the international markets, with international markets really liking Bond a lot more than we here in the U.S. do. Not saying that there's not fans here in the U.S., but just not as much as overseas. And so we saw, you know, one of the issues is the age group, and like I said, I think there is some credence to that because in the circles that I'm in, um, I didn't really hear a lot of people wanting to go see Bond, and I almost feel like for the younger crowd, Bond is a film they're gonna wait to come out in on demand or even just wait till like the Netflix or whatever drops. It's not a release that's hype enough to them to go see in the theaters because I do think that people want to go see this movie. They just don't want to go see it in theaters. It's that younger group. They want spectacle, and not saying Bond don't got it, but they want a certain type. And I think along with that too, with the age group thing, it's also the marketing. I feel like the marketing also doesn't play towards the younger crowd as well. And I figure that's because they know that the younger crowd really isn't into it. But I also feel like the marketing is playing a role as well. And when I think about some of the recent films that have been doing big numbers, um, and it's because it's not like No Time to Die it's a decent movie. The ratings are good. And I think even in the article they mentioned what it's got an A- cinema score. So I mean the reception is quite good. The audience and critics alike are saying the movie's at least decent. You know what I'm saying? Like it's at least like pretty good. So it's not like it's a bad film, but I just think the marketing is a lot different. The even from like a social media perspective. Um, when you think about like Venom and things like that, like leading up to Venom, you had that one event that fans got to go watch it, and people were going crazy about a post credit scene, and that was really like stirring and get people hyped in the marketing on social media. Like there was nothing that played into that with No Time to Die. Like I think about if I'm gonna think about other like espionage esque type films, let's take Mission Impossible for example, right? Like when I think about Mission Impossible, like one of their marketing tactics that they always use is how they one up like each movie with like bigger and more badass stunts, right? Like every new film, like it's their shtick now, slightly, right? It's like, oh man, what did Tom Cruise do this time? He did some crazy shit. We know it. He's hanging off the side of an airplane. Now he's jumping off this. He's doing this. We heard at CinemaCon for the new Mission Impossible that he's, driving a fucking motorcycle off a cliff and then parachuting, base jumping down. Like that's part of the marketing, right? Is hyping it up to see these crazy stunts. And Bond, man, like No Time to Die doesn't have nothing like that. It doesn't have nothing like that. Like there was no like the trailer has some good scenes, right? Like trailer, it looks like a beautiful shot movie. Looks visually looks beautiful. Some decent action scenes in the trailer, but there's no marketing behind it. You know what I'm trying to say? Like that guerrilla tactics, like social media, like in the trenches of social media, like talking about like a stunt that happened or a specific thing, a type, like some behind the scenes featurettes, things like that that get people like talking about it and get people wanting to go see it. And maybe those exist, and I just haven't seen them. But I feel like that hasn't been like at least in what from what I've seen hasn't really been talked about. Like a Mission Impossible might get talked about or something like that. But that's one of the things I was thinking about, man. It's definitely the marketing. I feel like if they had that type of marketing, like what I just described, like Mission Impossible, just for a pure example, like I think that even the younger crowd would be interested in going to see it. Um, so yeah, man, like going back over it, we got the age demographic, which I think plays a slight role, but I think it has a lot to do with how you market the movie. Like I think it can be marketed to a younger audience, and I'm sure a younger audience will eventually watch this movie when it gets to on demand and actually enjoy it. But I think that the movie wasn't marketed, towards them in a fashion that they can respond to and then want to go see the movie, like Venom had, things like that. Of course, it's kind of tough to compare superhero movies nowadays because especially with the Marvel because it's attached even if not directly but indirectly to the MCU. Um, so it's kind of an unfair advantage, but it still shows like some of the tactics that they use social media wise to get people talking. Like, excuse me, if I'm thinking about No Way Home, for example, right? Like how all these like leaks and things are happening with Andrew Garfield. Is the footage real? I think it's real personally, but um, come on now, think about this. Think about how clean. Let me go to my to the main screen right quick. All right, let me talk to y'all real quick. Like, think about how clean that footage is, right? Like, there's no way that someone, I think that was intentionally leaked. Shit, like that's some guerrilla marketing, like social media guerrilla marketing type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it was intentionally leaked to get people talking and get people hyped. People are already hyped anyway. They're just gonna make it even more hype, get people that aren't normally just casually viewers even caught up in it, right? Like, so that's just my opinion. Like, I feel like the Bond and I feel like the other Bond films have this issue too, where they just don't have that marketing. They need to get that marketing appeal. Um, Even if they got like finesse some dope trailers or clips or something like that, that people will, younger people will latch on to. Because I mean, I'm telling you, man, younger people will fuck with Bond. I'm telling you, they will. They'll go see this movie on demand afterwards and think it's dope and rate it high probably. But the marketing ain't getting them out to the theaters. I think that has more, and I think ultimately it's the marketing, man. Like, yeah, some of these younger audience ain't, people who watch Venom might not go see it, but I'm telling you, man, the marketing was spun a certain way. You can get them out there to go watch that movie. And then the article also talked about, uh, with the age groups, people not returning, specifically with older people not returning to the theater yet. They're still not ready. We're still in that pandemic like state where people want to believe it or not. Um, it's still present within socially within our society, right? So within the older demographics, people aren't, you know, I say they're going, but they're picking and choosing, right? Like they're definitely picking and choosing what they're going to see. And if it ain't hype enough, even amongst the older crowd, they're not going to go. But I guess that does have a little bit of an issue. The older crowd not going out to theaters or really not doing much at all. Just being nervous, even if they're vaccinated, just being nervous in general about, COVID and different variants and things like that. And I think that's fair, and I think that's definitely. Uh, yeah, I think it definitely plays into the box office, but I don't think it plays into it nearly as much as people say that it does. That's just me, though. I don't think it plays into it as much as they say it does. Um, but yeah, man, No Time to Die. I still haven't seen it yet. Like I said, I do want to see it. I am gonna check it out eventually. I still gotta catch up though. I haven't even watched Spectre yet. I think it's the last one, Spectre. I still haven't watched that yet. And I don't know why I haven't watched it. I just haven't watched it yet. It's in the backlog of movies I gotta see, but I just haven't watched it yet. But yeah, that's my thoughts on No Time to Die and kind of underperforming in the box office. Looking back at that other list, was there anything else on this list of people that you guys and gals were surprised by or anything like that, going through the list. I'd be curious to know if for that A24 film Lamb, if a mill is good for 583 theaters. I don't know. I'd be interested to know. Um, but that's a movie I want to check out too. And like I said, I wish it was playing in my area. I don't believe it is, but I wish I could see that in theaters. But I think it's on demand. It's rent. You can rent it on demand, I think. So I'm definitely gonna check that out eventually because it is October, and I gotta watch horror movies. I kind of want to do a, and I'm rambling at this point. If you're still watching, hey, like thanks for hanging out with your boy. But I do want to kind of make some videos about watching some horror films for October. Eventually, at some point, I'll make that video within the week or so. But yeah, is there anything on that box office list that got y'all intrigued that y'all were hoping did a little bit better, or were you guys disappointed about the Venom drop 64%? I know people really liked Venom Let There Be Carnage. Personally, I didn't, but were you guys disappointed disappointed with that drop? Shang-Chi still putting in work, 212 mil domestic gross. That is crazy. I'm all about it. I think that's dope. Um, but yeah, man, yeah, I really like Shang-Chi. I'm so glad that it broke 200 mil like for domestic. That's incredible. $212 million. That was the first film too, I think. But yeah, okay, I'm rambling at this point. But what did y'all think about the box office list, and what did y'all think about No Time to Die underperforming? Were you disappointed? Were it just kind of what you expected? What are y'all theories on why it didn't perform like people were expecting? Do you agree with like what the article's saying, what people are saying about the age demographic? Do you think it's the marketing? What do y'all think? I'm curious to see what y'all think, and I'd love to discuss it down in the comments with y'all um, below. But yeah, that's all I got for y'all on this one. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace.